Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for another exciting video, another exciting fixture. It's rivalries resumed. It's Leeds United versus Chelsea, or Chelsea versus Leeds United in the FA Cup fifth round. Uncharted territory for Leeds in recent times. Of course, we were beaten by Fulham, I think, a couple of seasons ago, but this isn't a stage in the competition that we're used to, if we're being totally honest. The opponent, on the other hand, of course, definitely is. Interestingly enough, folks, this is actually the first time we'll have faced Chelsea in the FA Cup since we were beaten in that 1970 FA Cup final, which, you know, stands the test of time of one of the most violent, vociferous games you will ever see or come across. That's where that rivalry started and has bubbled along nicely since then. Of course, Leeds United and Chelsea haven't met as much as both teams would have liked, but that rivalry still simmers, hence why it's a big game for both sides. You know, some Chelsea fans might try rewrite history. Maybe the modern fan will be say, who are Leeds? You know, here's what it is. But those match-going fans, and that's no disrespect that don't, but those match-goers fans of a certain generation will be, you know, in full voice tomorrow night, Wednesday night, or even tonight, depending on when you're watching this. It's going to be a hostile atmosphere, I believe, even though Chelsea aren't in great form. Question marks over their fans during the Carabao Cup final, for example, and that came from the horse's mouth. That came from Matisse earlier on, that there's been certain sections of the Chelsea fan base questioning that. But I still think when Leeds United come to town, it'll be different. You know, fans eagerly anticipate these matches. The history between the two clubs is there for all to see, and it adds an extra layer of intensity going into this game. How do I feel about it just on the face of it? I was confident. Not least just because Chelsea have not been great this season. There's question marks over Pochettino. He's in a race against time to try and keep his job. You know, he's got now to the end of the season about 3 months really to convince the owners that he's the man to take this club forward. I don't think he's at full fault. The owners have got a mad transfer strategy and have sold him a dud really. But he also has crimes to answer, you know. He's got many flaws in his makeup that have meant that Chelsea still find themselves mid-table, bottom half on some occasions, have lost 6 consecutive finals now, losing at the weekend, which was pretty embarrassing, all things considered, when you consider that Liverpool play with their kids. You know, that famous line that will probably reverberate for seasons to come now. I think it was a zinger by Gary Neville when he said the blue bottle job billionaires up against Klopp kids. I thought it was decent, I can't lie. But look, before we get into like the nuts and bolts of how Leeds United can win, or how Chelsea can win for that matter, you know, Chelsea and Leeds share a very good history. Dramatic matches, iconic goals, passionate fan bases, and that's whether we've faced in the cup, league battles, wherever it may be. You know, the games have left an indelible mark on English football. You know, and hopefully, you know, tomorrow night's game can provide that as well. An added bit of spice, you know, and hopefully Leeds United could come out on top, because Leeds United are, outside of Arsenal, the informed team in English football. Only us and Arsenal have conceded 2 goals this season since the turn of the year. It's insane numbers. Leeds United are in hot form. You know, we're unbeaten in 12 games. That's no joke. We've won 11 times in that run. One of them a draw that came against Plymouth. Then we slap them up 4-1 in the replay, admittedly due to extra time. But we ain't going to be no pushovers. The only thing that concerns me from a Leeds United perspective is the injuries. Obviously, in the presser, Daniel Farke mentioned Rutter, Somerville, James, Bamford, all being doubtful. He did say James may play, but I think the other 3 will miss out, which isn't great. And you know, Farke said himself he'd have loved to have had, you know, a full week to prepare for this. You know, he'd mirrored Chelsea. He'd have had a go and tried to beat Poch tactically. Because he hasn't had the time, and because Leeds United play 3 championship games in 6 days, you know, after this, or 4 games in 10 when you include this game, he's having to just say, listen, we play our way and we try to get a result that way. And hopefully that, you know, bears fruit. If Leeds United score first, it could be long for Chelsea, because Leeds United, I believe, are unbeaten still at this stage of the season when scoring first. We scored a hell of a lot of goals, conceded next to nothing. So it ain't going to be easy for Chelsea, that's for sure. You know, confidence is sky high. Why wouldn't it be? You know, the form that we're on, as I've just mentioned, but we also pulled off a dramatic win against Leicester. You know, those that are top of the league, is insane. That game was insane. If you were there, if you were watching, it's right up there. You know, that's 9 consecutive league wins on the back of that after, you know, being the lesser side in that game for arguably 80 minutes to then score 3 in that time and win. What that does for confidence, you know, cannot be measured. And, you know, the same can't be said for Chelsea, who've just come on the back of a humbling defeat against Liverpool, against Klopp's kids. So Leeds United are the informed team and are the most confident of the two sides. But let's not forget, you know, Chelsea did play championship opposition at home in the League Cup and they beat them by 7. You know, they struggled against Preston, but more recently, Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup, they slapped them for 7. Do I think that can happen in this game? I would say no. Defensively, we're too good. But I also think Chelsea can still put on a clinic against Leeds United because regardless of what you say of them this season, they do still have some top players. You know, I've been really impressed with Malo Gusto at right back. The goalkeeper who's come in, Petrovic, looks decent. Of course, Enzo and Caicedo, there still need to be question marks. There isn't enough question marks over them, in my opinion. But they cost a hell of a lot of money and are good players. Let's not forget. You know, former is temporary, class is permanent. Cole Palmer, massive player. Promising player, still has years to knock up on the clock yet. And he's impressed with his creativity, his work rate, and he's also scored goals for Chelsea this season. Conor Gallagher, you know, I'm a massive fan of him. I was an advocate for signing him on loan that season West Brom got him. I banged that drum so many times and he was great, West Brom, and then he went to Palace and he was great at Palace. He's shown he belongs at this level for me. Chelsea fans don't like him. They've been calling him an XL bully, just runs around like a madman. But for me, undoubtedly, one of their better players this season, even the most hardened Conor Gallagher hater within the Chelsea fan base must admit that. You know, but we have top players as well. Of course, we'll be without Rutter, probably Somerville, but you know, if Dan James does play, he can cause problems, getting in behind Chilwell, or maybe it'll be Chalobah, or it could even be Colwell if he plays Colwell at left back. You know, Wilfred Gnonto's in great form as well. He's scored in 4 straight Leeds away games. We know he can do it at this level. He scored against Manchester United. You know, he's done there. He's been there, he's done it. As has Somerville. Shame he's not available, but Gnonto is one player that has done it. You know, he scored in the 4th round replay against Plymouth. He's in hot form. Ampadu will have a point to prove. I'm excited to see how Ampadu does. Will he play midfield? He'll probably stay at centre-back with Strout being out, but him and Rodon have been imperious. I do think they struggled against Leicester. And that's the level up, you know, and Chelsea is another level on Leicester. It'd be interesting to see what happens at right back. I think Connor Roberts has to play. Left back, probably Byram. Byram will have his work cut out. Definitely for me, if it's Cole Palmer from that side with Malo Gusto overlapping. Sterling's been inconsistent, but he'll probably flat track bully and want to play well against this Leeds United side, but just go missing in the big games. It's what he does, right? But yeah, we do have some very good players at this level. We now need to see what they're about when tested against the Premier League side. Because regardless of what we think of Chelsea's form, and they have been poor, they have been pish, they're still a Premier League side, and a very good Premier League side. And I'll come back to it again. When they came up against Middlesbrough, they slapped them for 7. But look, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for Chelsea. After their result, Nkunku's picked up another knock. You know, they have a host of injuries themselves. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Nkunku, thankfully for Leeds United, he's picked up another knock because I think he would have caused us all sorts of problems. In terms of who they bring in, maybe Madueke starts, maybe Trevor Chalobah starts. We might even see a change in goal with Sanchez coming in for Petrovic. But outside of that, I don't think they can make wholesale changes. Pochettino cannot afford to make wholesale changes. So expect to see Enzo and Caicedo. Expect to see Disasi and Colwell. Maybe even Chilwell, the captain at left back. They will play their big hitters because they have to. Because Pochettino is also managing for his job, really, at this stage. But look, history is on Chelsea's side, especially at Stamford Bridge, because they've won their last 6 head-to-head home fixtures against Leeds United. We can all remember recent times we beat them 3-0 at Ellen Road, but notoriously, we do not do well down at Stamford Bridge. Now, as I've said to you before, this is the first time we'll have met them in the FA Cup since that 70s final, so maybe it'll have a different feel to it, but this will actually be, if we were to win, if we were to win, and it's a big if, but if we did get there, it'd be the first time we've reached the FA Cup quarter-final in 21 years. So, as I said, history isn't on our side. This is uncharted territory for us. And traditionally for Chelsea, this isn't a stage in the competition that they're not unfamiliar with. They know this, you know. They normally progress. They don't falter at this stage. I think they've progressed 13 of the last 15 times when in the 5th round. So this isn't their, first rodeo, if you like. But this is a different Leeds United side. This is a Leeds United side that are one of the informed teams, not just in the Championship, in the country. They don't concede many goals. Chelsea are wounded. And I don't even look at it as a positive, like, oh, they're a wounded animal, they're ready to bite back. I don't. I see it as a wounded animal that's about to be, put down, really. I don't think the players are playing for Poch. I think he's on borrowed time, rightly or wrongly. I think the end is nigh. And we can just further add more pain for Chelsea and the Chelsea fans and Todd Bowley and this billionaire, thing that he's got going on. I'm sorry, listen, I dislike Chelsea as a football club. Naturally, that's woven into me as a Leeds United fan. Please don't take it personal, any Chelsea fans that are watching. It's just how it is. We still sing about you on the terraces, as do Chelsea fans as well. So I want us to beat you. I would love to be the team that puts the nail in this season for Chelsea, because they're out of the Carabao Cup. They got humbled by Klopp's kids. They're doing pish in the league. They're not in Europe. This is their last chance. This is their last chance at Europe, as Fark said it. I would love to be the team that says we got Poch sacked. We ensured that you did nothing this season. And imagine the momentum. We're already on momentum, like, is crazy in the league and in general, in the FA Cup included. But imagine winning this after beating Leicester and coming back from the death. You're looking at it and saying, we will not lose another game. That's how I would feel. If we can go to Stamford Bridge and beat them, I'm like, listen, we're not losing another game. And Chelsea haven't been amazing at home. They've played 12 times this season at home, and they've only won 5. That's not great for Chelsea. They've lost 4 of them, by the way, as well. And the last time they played at Stamford Bridge, they were beaten by Wolves. You know what I mean? This isn't the same Chelsea that we know from before. This is a totally different kettle of fish. And it's one that we can potentially, progress in the competition. Remember, extra time and penalties, no replay, thank God. So if it does go the ends, then why not? Let's beat them on penalties. I know Matisse predicted that. I'd love to do it in normal time because the less minutes, the better. I do think it'll be 2-1, and I think it'll be 2-1 either way. I'm not going to sit here and say Leeds United will win this game 2-1 because Chelsea could turn up. They could turn up. They turned up against Middlesbrough. They've turned up against Villa, for example, in the previous round, which no one expected them to do away at Villa Park, and they did it. But then they're also inconsistent and putting subpar performances in other games as well. So you just don't know which Chelsea you're going to get. And maybe that's why I lean more towards Leeds in a sense, because you know what Leeds you're going to get. You do know what Leeds you're going to get. Let's not forget Leeds have scored 3+ goals in 3 of our past 4 FA Cup away games. We're the team on form. We're the team scoring goals. We're the team not conceding goals. So everything leads towards a Leeds United win. But we must remember Premier League. It's a different kettle of fish. But give me some quarter-final FA Cup joy. That would be amazing. Beat Chelsea, get them sacked, have them, in turmoil. Bowley shotting out more billions. I don't know. Just make it all crumble. Make the bridge fall down. London Bridge is falling down. That's what we need. Yeah, falling down. That kind of vibe. But it'll be interesting to see tomorrow night, 6:45, 6 o'clock, whenever the lineup's announced, who Leeds United line up with. Because you could see Cooper in the side. You could see Gelhardt start. And then okay, he's throwing this game in a roundabout way. Mateo Joseph, Pirro, etc. But if he does risk a rutter, if he does play James and Nonto, Anthony might get a run out as well. That's the good thing about Leeds United right now. At least we have depth. We have more depth this season than we did in the Premier League. One player out at that side in the Premier, and we're like, oh God, it's going to be long. Not so much. Not so much with this team now. Because even if you were to make wholesale changes, you could see, Pirro up top. You could see, Nonto going to the 10 and then play James out right and Anthony out on the left. Midfield, you've got Gruev, you've got Kamara, you've got Gray, you've got Ampadu. Could Cooper come in at centre-back to enable Ampadu to play midfield? Who knows? You've got Robertson Gray at right-back, you've got Firpo, you've got Byram at left-back. There are options aplenty. I want to know your lineups. I'm not going to try and predict one. We did that one in the presser. It's going to be too tough because we just don't know who's going to be fit. So we're going to have to wait for that. Give me your score predictions, though. I'm going to go for a Leeds United 2-1 win. But I could see it going the other way as well. But I would love it if we beat them Kevin Keegan settings. Love it. Listen, thanks always for watching, both Leeds and Chelsea fans and whoever else has chose to watch and stay this long. I hope you have. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit the notification bell. Make sure you join me for the watch along as well. It's going to prove to be lit because we could have another special night, this time at Stamford Bridge as opposed to Ellen Road. And hopefully the footballing gods are on our side, even if it does go to pens. Let's make it happen, Leeds United. Let's get to that quarter final. Listen, I'm rambling now, so I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.